Okay, seventh graders. So this video is to help you with question 1 on CR1. This question's similar to the question on your actual CR. I don't do the same questions, but I will do similar questions to help support you. So let's take a look at this one. This was something you learned back in 6th grade. It says, which is closest to 0? And some of these answers are negative, some of them are positive. So negative 1/4, is that the closest number to 0? 3/6, negative 1/8, 2/5. So what you really have to think about is, I did all the positives first from 0 to 1. I didn't draw negative number lines. They're positive number lines. But between 0 and 1, if I broke it into fours, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. To do 3/6, well, from 0 to 1, now I have to break this into 6 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to look at 6. So negative 1/4. Well, if 1/4 is that distance to the right of 0, negative 1/4 would be that same distance, but to the left of 0. So maybe negative 1/4 is about right here. So it's still 1/4 away, but then to the left. Let's look at 3/6. How far is 3/6 from 0? Oh, well, the distance from 0 to 3/6 is this distance. So if we just look at A and B, which is closer? Oh, negative 1/4 is definitely closer to 0 than 3/6. So pretty much when you're trying to decide which number is closest to 0, you want to draw your number lines. You want to make sure all your number lines are the same length. Like from 0 to 1, on each of my number lines, you'll notice it's the same exact length. Then you're just going to want to break those number lines up into whatever your denominators are. So the first one is broken up into fours. Next one here is broken up into fifths, into sixths, and into eighths. That means 8 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can get out a ruler to help you with your measurements. But here, if we look here with negative 1/4 and 3/6, well, negative 1/4 is definitely closer to 0 than 3/6. Okay? 3/6 is the same distance away as 2/4, because both of those numbers are 1/2. So let's take a look at negative 1/8. Well, a positive 1/8 is this far from 0. So a negative 1/8 would be that same distance away, just to the left of 0. So maybe this would be like a negative 1/8. And if you look here, 1/8 is definitely closer to 0 than 1/4. So negative 1/8 is definitely closer to 0 than a negative 1/4. It's just an eighth away from 0. Let's take a look at 2/5. Well, look at 2/5 is further from 0 than 1/4, and definitely further from 0 than 1/8. Or negative 1/8 just means we're to the left of 0 by an eighth. So it looks to me like the closest to 0 would be a negative 1/8. And what you'll need to do with your numbers is you'll need to draw number lines for yourselves. And you'll want to break your number lines up from 0 to 1 or 0 to negative 1. And then whatever the denominator is, 4, 6, 8, 5, you want to take those number lines and break them up into that many parts. 4 parts, or 5 parts, or 6 parts, and so on. And then once you have your number lines, all the same distance overall, 0 to 1, all divided up into the correct fractional parts, at that point you just draw a picture for yourself on the number line. It's pretty easy to tell which is closest to 0. And number lines is just nice proof for your teacher, a visual about which is closest to 0. I hope that helps.